Hi, Naxakala here. Today's not really a different topic, but this isn't part of the sexual and film series because I haven't made any progress on that. But I do have some time, so I thought I would talk about The Air by Kiera, specifically about Swendway and Henri Jaakoppi, because that was like one of my topics on this channel is Finnish and Finland and Finnishness. And sometimes it'd be fun to talk about representation of Finland outside of Finland or whatever. And maybe this is a sort of that series. So let's talk about it. So I've seen, of course, these are very like recognizable covers. Like I see these around. I never really think about anything about them. I maybe read a back cover or two or whatever, but never really thought much about these. But then I got into them at least kind of through another film, Ethan Peck, the current Spock in Star Trek. He's partly Finnish, and a couple of years ago he came to Finland with his dad to experience Finnishness, and that's so good. And I like following people of Finnish descent and what they do. So I got into a habit of like a month or two ago. I started listening to lots of like shitty book recaps, and I love cinema sins. So basically, through that, the YouTube algorithm told me that I should watch someone talk how shitty the 2012 pilot episode of the Selection TV series would have been. It was on the CW, and so I was listening to that, like whatever. Then they talk about who was playing Maxon, or how the guy who plays Maxon is all wrong because he's not blonde. I don't know. But I heard his voice and that's Ethan Peck. Did he do this? Yes, he did. He did that pilot. He played Prince Maxon, Shreve, or whatever. And it was also written by Elizabeth Craft and Sarah Fain, who I know from the Angel days, so that was nice. Then I ended up watching the pilot and not listening to the rest of why that it's shitty. I don't know. It was fine. It was a pilot on the CW in 2012. It was fine. But then I still got sucked into listening people ranting about the books. And then I eventually made it to someone ranting about the duology, The Air and the Crown, the sequel, duet, duology, whatever word you want to use. It's these stupid U caps. So, this is blood orange, in case you care. In Finnish and Swedish. That's actually important later. So I listen to the people talk about these books. It's fun enough. And then someone starts talking about the sequels, about Evelyn, American Maxon's daughter, who's gonna be the next queen. So I'm just listening, like la 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 la, interesting or entertaining at least. And then suddenly, I don't remember who it was. I watched quite many of them. The booktubers. I don't remember who it was. But someone like, why doesn't Evelyn just learn Finnish? Because like one of the plot points in there is that Henri Jaakoppi is Swedish and can't really speak English or understand it. So the booktuber was like, why doesn't Evelyn already know Finnish, or why doesn't she learn Finnish? And I'm like, Finnish? Swendway. Swedish. They speak Finnish. Like, what? And then I went to the comments to see other people reacting to this, and someone was like, yeah, actually the Finnish in the books is so bad that the Finnish translator had to fix the Finnish that was in the books. Oh, it's like, yeah, I can see that. So I was kind of tempted to get the books, own the books for just that reason or whatever. But I got this from the library. Unfortunately, I don't have the Finnish version, so I can see how those were fixed. Maybe I will make a continuation. Like I've just gone through The Air. I listened to it on audiobook here on YouTube. But yes, I also have the book from the library, so I'm also like the people complain a lot about Evelyn. Like yeah, I can see like the voice actress for the audible version of the book that I listened to made her more tolerable. Like I don't really see myself actually reading this book because I can see how annoying Evelyn would be, but having the someone else's voice talking about being Evelyn helped me like see her point a little bit more. But it's also she can be really obnoxious sometimes. But so anyway, this is more ranty than a lot of my videos are going to usually are. But so I just thought it was so really, and it's really weird. I don't understand. This is one of those things that I started to call they have mythology, but they had no word building. Because I don't like why did United States crumble, and then for 4 generations they created a caste system, and during the 5th generation, because like the heir says that this is the 5th selection. Like seriously, they've only been doing this for like 100 years. Seriously, and everything is like so different. Like that war was so drastic that America got themselves a monarchy, an absolute monarchy at that. And then France also went back to having a monarchy. And for some reason, some of the Nordic countries, at least Sweden and Norway, and apparently Finland, which you can tell because there's Swendway, the ND or the D is supposed to come from Finland, which is like that's like terrible. Like is Denmark involved? How about Iceland? All these other islands. Is Greenland? No, part of Swendway. Like how does any of this work? And why on earth would a new combined Nordic state or kingdom, why would they choose Finnish? It makes absolutely no sense. Like I kind of love it. Like the Finnish part is there in the book. It's kind of bad, and listening to the audiobook is even worse because like Henri's accent, that the accent they give Henri is like vaguely European. Like later there's Camille, who's the princess of France. Like she has a clearly French accent, and I do feel like Henri's accent is it's almost like it's trying to be European, like modeling. It's kind of modeled after the French accent, I feel, but it's not that. Especially when there's like, oh, everybody's for some reason, just because we spell it with an I, Henri with an I, that it's supposed to be pronounced like it's French. It's not. We love how H it's Henri. Oh, that like if it's the with a Y, then it's Henry. Like, oh, and talking like this is a very. I was hoping this would be more structured, but it's not. It's not gonna be. So like names, as far as those are concerned, like yes, Henry is such as Henry. It's very close to American, so like Evelyn saying the way she doesn't bother me because it's not actually that wrong. Jaakoppi is not Jaakoppi or whatever. That's not a. It's like there's 2 P's for a reason. We pronounce everything Jaakoppi. which is actually not a last name. It's a first name. It's a old Finnish version of Jacob that's not really in use that much. Like, I think officially there's been about 1,000 Jaakoppis in Finland, and most of them were born before 1940. So it's not a common name, and it's not a last name. Finns don't really do the whole name can be a first or a last name. We don't really do that. Those are kind of like, they're separate things. Oh, and Eikko. Eikko Koskinen. That is almost a normal name. Koskinen is very normal. It means like rabbits, or small rabbits, whatever. Koski means rabbits. Nen makes it into a diminutive, or a patronymic, or an adjective, or a last name in general. Eikko. Eikko is the only one who I can find. If I Google Eikko Koskinen from the air and the ground is the only one that I can find. But when I search for Eikka, I find plenty of people with that name. So it seems the Kiera cast did the same thing that sometimes people do, where they see a Finnish male name that ends in A, and they are like, that can be, and then they just switch the A to an O, so that it's more properly masculine or whatever. DC Comics did also this with there's a superhero whose name is Jukko Hämäläinen. Jukko is not really a name. Jukka is a very common Finnish name. And so kind of like that kind of switching, it kind of makes me feel it's more like Estonian rather than Finnish. And that's partly because like in Finnish, Pekka is a very common name. In Estonian, Pekko is also a very common name. I mean, in Finnish, also use Pekko. But what I'm kind of like saying this, that like just because some name ends in an A doesn't mean it's a feminine name. Just because most Indo-European languages think so. Finnish doesn't work like that, and that's the thing. Like like Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, whatever Scandinavian languages are also living in Swendway. They are all related. Some of them even seem like they are more like a dialect continuum rather than separate languages. Really, Finnish is not a Indo-European language. It doesn't belong in that same family. It's a Uralic language. It's completely different. And like what gets to me about this is that right now, in 2024, Crown Princess Victoria is gonna be the next queen of Sweden once Carl Gustaf dies, because he's not gonna retire. And so if the Swedish monarchy lasts through Victoria's reign and into whoever is her firstborn, I don't remember, then she is actually that, then the firstborn, like if the Swedish monarchy lasts for 2 more generations, then we are finally gonna, because Prince Daniel, Victoria's husband, is part of partly Finnish heritage. He has Forest Finn heritage, and his father is actually really into promoting that heritage and whatever. So like if Daniel and Victoria's child ascends to the throne of Sweden, then finally about over 200 years, probably closer to 300 years after Finland start being part of Swedish realm, we are gonna get someone with Finnish heritage on the Swedish throne. And you actually think that they would choose Finnish? Like Ari Eltjarn made a very funny joke about this, that how when Nordics get together, they just speak English because like no one understands what Danish speak, and Finnish is completely wholly unrelated language. That they just adopt. We just all speak Finnish. I'm not making justice to the joke. You can. I might link it in the comments or whatever. But like the idea that Kiera Cash's world building is like, okay, I'm just gonna put all the Nordics together and they will choose to speak Finnish. Like the comparison I've been thinking is like, let's say that all the Slavic countries for some reason decided to get together. Let's say that they ignore Russia or whatever. So like all the Slavic speaking countries get together and then they for some reason invite like Mongolia to join in, and then they are like, okay, let's call our country Slavikia, and the AI at the end comes from Mongolia. that's how it seems. That's how little sense it makes. And I was planning on going all through about Finnish history and specifically as part of Sweden, and how it makes absolutely no fucking sense that Swedes would choose to start speaking Finnish. I don't know. It just this choice is it's just so weird to me. It doesn't make any kind of linguistic or historical real life sense, and I don't understand how this world works. But Henri is very cute. I like him. But another thing. The whole thing, like he makes korvapuustis, great. That's very Scandinavian. That's very Nordic. We all do it. Finns and Swedes at least do it. There's even a national korvapuussi day. That's fine. But then he makes omenalörtsy. That's how you say it. And that's kind of weird because like when Duolingo launched Finnish, one of the assignments, whatever you call those things on Duolingo, Duolingo decided to use lörtsy in one of the sentences, and most Finns were like, what the fuck is that? I have never heard of this word. It's a Eastern Finnish word. It talks about this. It's not really a pastry, it can be sweet or savory. Like obviously, if it's apple, it's sweet, but mostly it's savory. It's like this half moon shaped thing. It's like a meat pie. Its common word is lihapiirakka, which is meat pie. Although piirakka is often a bit different than what Anglos might understand. So like it's very weird that he is randomly doing omenapiirakka like that. That he's doing omenalörtsy like that. So like was he from Eastern Finland? Or whatever that means in Swendway. In a Swendway context. I don't know. And like here, this is a Finnish soda. It has Finnish here and Swedish there. That's because we are a bilingual country. Why would it's great. I mean, it's kind of weird to hear people butcher my language constantly or occasionally, and it's very weird to see. Like sometimes I can try to guess what clear. Like I wanna know if she consulted anyone Finnish. Did she just use Google Translate? Like one there's like I say Henri is like. Basically, I think it is like, you can call me this or that, and he's like, then I say you what? Or something, and it's like, that's not how it works. I don't think, it would be one thing if I was writing, introducing someone who speaks Finnish into a text of English, and that's not how one of the things, there's way too many random prepositions that they have Henri use or say. Finnish doesn't have prepositions, we use suffixes. to convey the same information. So it's weird that he's like halting English trying to use speech would contain random prepositions occasionally, and yeah, I just this is very this is very weird and very ranty video, and I didn't even get into any of the history of why there's no way Swedes would choose Finnish as a language because of our shared history or anything like that. But I've been talking about this a lot, very long, over 20 minutes now. Why? I don't know. It was fun. I might write a follow-up once I have dealt with the crown. I don't know if I've had to read this because like there's someone reading it on YouTube, so I could do it like that, but I don't know if that works for me as well. At least this is very short. So yeah. Okay, like I'm spoiled. I know who she's gonna end up with, and I kinda like I don't understand how this world works. I'm more sympathetic to Evelyn than I thought I would be because everybody hates her, but I also can see why people hate her. Henri's sweet. And Eikko is fine. Oh, I almost forgot. So using taking Minnesota and just letting go of the Minne and leaving Sota. It's very very weird because Sota means war in Finnish. So like people really are moving to war, and that's just really weird, and especially funny because Minne is one of the ways Finnish translate where. So Minnesota basically means where war. So now he's living in war. I don't know. It's just weird. But I've talked too much, so this is very rambly. Maybe I will make a better follow-up once I'm done with the crown. Bye. This was Noctica. Being a very Finnish and weird. Bye.